We are here today with James Lawrence, ambassador of Montessori Sports, professional football player, and also a keynote speaker on the International Montessori Congress. Welcome, James.
Thank you, nice to be here.
Can you explain us where we are now?
So we're currently sitting in the garden of Maria Montessori's old house in Amsterdam, the current head office of AMI, Association Montessori International. And I think we're in a very lovely space. There couldn't be a better place to talk about Montessori. So I'm currently playing professional football in Germany, the south of Germany, for a team called FC Nuremberg. And Montessori, I went to Montessori school from pretty much my early years, from 3 till 12. And so I think that side of development I see has aided me so much in my football career as well. And so many of the skills that I learned during those years have aided me so much throughout my career. And in a way, you can kind of pinpoint them in certain moments, which I think is really nice. So I'll be doing a certain thing in football, and you can kind of relate it back to what I've learned through Montessori. You know, things like being in an open environment, being autonomous, you know, having to decide things for yourself. That's really helped in football, because in football you need that autonomy on the pitch. Although it's a team sport, you're very much an individual within that. So you also need to find your own ways to kind of shine through and grow and develop yourself. So that, you know, that's a complete parallel. And on the other side of things, you know, there's also a social aspect to football. And I think Montessori really helped me create really good connections with people, and I became a very social person and able to function in kind of any group, any surrounding, and became very comfortable with that. And in football, I've moved teams quite a few times, I've moved countries, and I've always been able to find common ground and being able to create a kind of social life as well within the team or outside of the team in those new countries and those new environments. So I've always been quite comfortable doing that. And I think that also links directly back to my Montessori education. There are plenty of other things. I mean, I could kind of talk forever on this, but you know, even kind of mentally. So in football, you need to be mentally very tough. You need to be able to overcome adversity. You need to be able to push yourself through in certain situations. Like I said, you also have others who help, but at the end of the day, it does come down to yourself and your own drive and your own passion, because thousands and thousands of people want to make it as a footballer, and it's tough. You have to really have that sense of, you know, I need to get there, how am I going to do it? And you need to figure that out for yourself. You need to find your own path, and it's not always going to be easy. And I think that mental fortitude just really aided me, and that's definitely something that I grew from Montessori. You know, learning, you're not always going to have an easy time, and you need to find your own path, and everyone has their own individual path and their own individual qualities in the way that they learn. And I think that finding that through Montessori has then aided me to be more self-aware in how it's best for me to learn new things and adapt to the environment in football.
So it is clear that the sports world can benefit from a more Montessori approach. How would you say Montessori schools and environments can benefit from sports?
So my experience, I guess, in my time at Montessori school was, of course, the time that I got to spend outside playing with the other children, and you know, there were a variety of things provided to us that we could, you know, there was a football, there was things like that. We had to kind of create our own thing, and whatever child liked different things, they could go off and do that thing. And then my other experience of it would be, you know, sometimes we would go off-site to do things like, I think, basketball and swimming. But it did feel slightly separated from your overall education. It didn't really feel like something you were learning. It just felt like it was something fun you could go and do. And I feel like there is an opportunity to integrate that slightly more into understanding perhaps what you're doing with a certain sport, and learn, I think, more about that sport individually. So do research on the sport, learn about previous athletes who have played the sport, learn why they do it, what their background is, and also learn how you can get better at that sport, what they do in training, all of those kind of things. I think perhaps that aspect I missed slightly, there wasn't much focus on, let's say, football. So I don't think I did much research on football itself. All the research I was doing was more focused on education and things like that. So perhaps on that side of things, I think there could be more integration of sport into Montessori in a learning sense. And I think just that focus might benefit, Montessori might benefit from that, having that focus, let's say.
So how would you say sport can be a point of interest or a gateway to learn about different topics in school?
Yeah, so I think there are so many parallels between sport and education, and the way we look at sport in general, I think, there are so many different aspects that relate. I mean, if we're just taking an example of mathematics, in sport you're having to keep score. You're scoring a game of football, let's say 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, and you're understanding the relationship between those numbers and the success of who wins the game. Then, for example, in tennis you have a completely different scoring system. You've got 15, 30, 40. And I think understanding those principles, of course, relates completely to mathematics, right? And it can also be a really interesting vehicle, as you say, for a child to be really interested in that topic. They might love the sport, and then that then relates into the maths, and then they learn through sport to love the mathematics side of it, or vice versa even. And another example would be biology and physiology, knowing about the body, understanding what's good for your body, what kind of nutrition you need in order to perform at the highest level and to sustain that performance. Understanding injuries within your body, understanding muscle groups, what certain muscle groups do, how you can then improve those muscle groups in order to improve your performance on the pitch. And so I think those parallels are really nice to draw, and you can quite easily move them into the classroom to provide a stimulus for a child to want to learn more about different things, subjects, biology, maths, science, all of those kind of things. And I think sports can be a really useful conduit, I guess, to provide that into a classroom as a spark for a child to then want to learn more about different subjects like that.
With Montessori Sports, we are helping schools and teachers worldwide implementing sports into their Montessori environment. We have more than 1,000 students on our learning platform. They all became member of our community. Every member donates €1 per month into a Montessori Sports Fund. Goal of this fund is to provide Montessori education using the power of sports. One of the potential projects we have is in Thailand. It's for the orphanages. How would you say sport can play a role to provide Montessori education, and maybe moreover to educate human beings to their full potential?
Yeah, so I think my experience with sport is always a happy experience. It brought me a lot of joy in my childhood, and I feel like sports does bring a lot of joy to children in general. And it provides so many things. It provides the fun aspect of it, it provides the learning aspect of it, it provides the communal aspect of it, social interaction with other children. And I think to be able to provide that to children who really, really need it, it's just such a wonderful thing. And I think, even that small donation of €1 a month, it goes a long way. And I think the work that Montessori Sports is doing with projects like these and really trying to bring that into communities who might not have had it otherwise, and just allow access for these children to be able to have that joy and that spark that I think so many people have experienced, and these children also deserve to experience as well at the same time. And for them to have that access to sport, but then also access to the education, I think is just such an important factor. And yeah, brilliant work that Montessori Sports is doing in that field.
All right, James, this was the interview. Thank you and congratulations on your first keynote. Do you have one last message for the people on the Congress?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to say it's been a pleasure, of course, to talk about my own experiences, and hopefully you learn something from my words, and I hope you gain a better understanding of what I've experienced in sport and in Montessori at the same time. And I hope you take a lot away from this Congress. I hope you really, I hope it sparks a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas, and I hope it sparks a lot of learning. And that's the main thing I would like you to take away is learn every day, enjoy the experience of learning, and yeah, enjoy what Montessori sports are doing. And I really hope you help in some way in the future. And I believe that sport is a key to educate human potential.